Rather crazy game overall, I gotta say. Started out with a very fun level 1 that you were a huge fan of.
Yeah, I absolutely love that level 1.
Yeah.
The fact that people are adapting to the invades is something that I love seeing. We talk about evolutions and tiny little things. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, it's just basically, honestly, just about the mind games and also understanding the tendencies of your opponents, in fact. Just the fact that you're like, okay, yeah, TSM blind invade most of their games. In fact, typically on red side, they invade southern jungle. So we'll set up on the south jungle. And in fact, we have a replay of the level 1, in fact, that's just really exciting if you want to talk me through what goes down here.
All right, so what ends up happening is both mid laners, they see each other, they place the mid wards, standard stuff. But then we see Winterfox place this one ward right here that sees all this action. And then 4 of them hide in this brush down here. You can barely see them off the edge of the screen. And then Paragon makes it look like it's a Krug start. And TSM, like you said, their habits, they've been read here. In the TIP game, they blind invade. There's 2 types of invades here. The blind invade where you go as 5 and you go straight into the jungle and you're like, we're just a force of 5, they can't stop us. The other one is you place wards in defensive lines and then you're on the opposite side and then you stay on this side. When you see them, then you run into their jungle. Those are the 2 types of invades. TSM blind invades this, and they get punished for it. You're going to see it here as we start rolling the clip out. Paragon just looks like a damsel in distress. He looks like this is a Krug start. It's absolutely beautiful because this is a TSM line here. Bjergsen is in the back, and these guys immediately hone in onto Paragon and make a beeline for him, leaving Bjergsen as the straggler. Even if it was just Wild Turtle in the back, he would have been their prey. We can continue rolling the clip out here because they only see Paragon, and it looks like he's just looking for vision as they do Krugs, and it's absolutely beautiful. Dignitas tried a level 1 that was kind of similar where they hung out in the wolf camp, and they almost got away with it against CLG, but the fact that this extra little bait that turns the team not into a block, but into a bunch of stragglers is absolutely beautiful. They get a lot of flashes for it. And the fact that TSM is so far down this side of the jungle, when people show up behind you, you can't go through them. You have to go towards their base. And that's how Wild Turtle ends up dying there as well. And this is really what gave Winterfox that kind of boost in the early game that kept them in it for so long. It allowed Avalon to get off the ground and get those really impactful ultimates later on.
Well, that was the thing is we had the exact same storylines we expect to happen kind of in every single game for these teams. So Avalon, yet again, down 90 CS by the end of the game, I think, right? Having a really hard time one-on-one against Dyrus. And okay, Dyrus is a very good player, but routinely Avalon gets behind. But yet, bad laning phase doesn't matter when you get 600 free gold to start the game out with. And hey, look, he shows up in team fights, buys his Zhonya's roughly on time, maybe a little bit late, but it's okay. And suddenly this team can team fight well. And then, so the game transitioned, right? Bjergsen, scoreline Babbitt, who cares? He's doing split pushing things.
Rip
whereas,
KDA.
Yeah, okay, his KDA went down. I'm sorry for the Bjergsen fantasy owners. Even though he won your team the game, he didn't win your fantasy team the game. Oh, well. But what was cool was it was a difference of very different styles, obviously. We got to see that, yes, Zed beats Victor. We got to see Zed split push. And then Winterfox was like, we have a bunch of AoE ults. Let's go team fight some people. And you got to see those 2 types of comps interact.
Yeah, and the Zed beats Victor thing is something that's been emerging and people don't know too much about. Victor's a champion that usually goes 1 upgrade into death cap. We've been seeing a lot of variation, but Zhonya's is a little far off the path because you're always going to delay it by about 1,000 gold because you want that first upgrade. So not only is it an assassin against this immobile mage who takes about 1.5 seconds to actually stun you in his gravity field, a good Zed will not get stunned by that. And you delay your Zhonya's on top of it. So all of his defensive options are delayed, and they take a long time to turn online. And if a good Zed player is on that field, he's going to be able to play around it.
And we got to see a good Zed player play throughout the entire time. Other fun points to talk about in this game, Altec's first game in support.
Yeah, that was really damn good. His ultis and his Zenith Blades were on point this game. Paragon impressed me on that Corki. His positioning was really good for a large portion of the game. It was just a couple misplays in team fights that really cost them. And that's where TSM shines, is their team fights, the way that they interact and have that cohesion where they have each other's backs and they know when to go in and how to flank. Yeah, so maybe bright things ahead for Winterfox overall. Certainly a close game against TSM is probably a good way to start things out. We'll see if they can pick up any more wins throughout the season. Of course, TSM in control of first place. And for now, we're going to hand it off to Dash.